So the other day, me and my homeboy was at Denny's, and the waitress comes over, and I'm like, "Yo, I want the real eggs." He was like, she was like, "The shell eggs?" I said, "Yeah." My homeboy looks over with amazement. He's like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah. Did you always think that those eggs was that goddamn yellow all the time? Like they just use all the yolk?"
Yeah. Trying to bring your ass to the table, y'all.
Trying to bring y'all
X
to
to
the
the Z
table.
exhibit.
First ever
Yeah. Double D.
podcast by Mr. Johnson.
OC. What? Bringing it
Now you can
live.
call me Mr.
Dr.
Dad.
Dre. What?
Hi, Daddy.
So I wanted to give people a broad perspective of my life and the person that I am and the mission that I'm trying to achieve in this introduction to my new podcast, Mr. Dad. One of the reasons why I'm doing it is one for self because I really feel like there's a lot of things that I have on my chest and in my mind that I need to convey to people for a sense of, I guess, releasing the old and coming in with the new, like a therapy session. And I'm going to walk through every episode, treating it as such to find out and get to the nitty gritty of what actual fatherhood is to me. So, with that said, I wanted to clear up a few things, a few perceptions that people have of fathers that are single fathers that are out here trying to do it for themselves. One of the main things that I wanted to clear up is the perception that males are emotionalists and we just don't have the capacity to be emotional when it comes to anything. And I want to let you guys know that today that's not the case, especially when it comes to my children and the way that I interact with them. I'm very much involved in everything that they do, and I'm very much involved emotionally. Also, this thing that continues to happen to me where I get praised for being a single dad as if it's not something that we're supposed to do. I feel like as men and as gentlemen in life, we're supposed to be there for our kids. So I don't really take kindly to people saying, "Oh, you're such a good dad," or "Oh, you do such a great thing," or "Oh, you're always around your kids," because I feel like you're supposed to be that. And it's not that I'm saying that from a place that I actually know, because that wasn't my life. It wasn't written like that in the script of the life that I had when I was younger. However, I feel like that's what's supposed to be ethically. So, also, another thing to the ladies out there, if you're going to sing praise for single dads or dads that are very involved in life, I also want the sympathy when I'm feeling a little down about life, like we do for the single moms out there. Oh, she has to do it by herself. Oh, and we don't need it. And neither one of us, male or female, we don't need it. However, we do kind of like it. But that's not something that happens to males. Like I get that you're a good dad, but as soon as I say like, "Oh, hey, dang, this is hard. Oh, suck it up. You're a man. Oh, you can shoulder it. You're strong." And sometimes we just don't want to hear that shit as males because sometimes we have weaknesses as well. Stepping forward. So, my next uh, point I want to make is about the perception of single fathers because I think there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to us. Uh, a big one that I deal with normally is that I can't fathom what's going on when it comes to my daughter because my daughter is very, very like sensitive. And of course, as a man, you try to destroy the sensitive side of anything, right? And with me, I don't do that because I don't want to, destroy any type of feelings because feelings are important. But in society, they tell us that that's not masculine, and they try to demasculinize us when we say stuff that may be in the other eyes of, oh, that's emotional, or oh, you're in your feelings, or oh, this or that. It's not cool. So, with that said, let me give you guys a little background of my road through fatherhood and the reason why I am how I am. I had my daughter when I was 22. I'm now 33. When she was born prematurely. So from the start of this, from the moment she came out, 2 pounds 15 ounces, being able to fit in the palm of my hand, I, for one, got really weak. It really weakened the person that I was because I was so hard up on being hard and being tough and being what I thought a man could be because I didn't have that role, right, growing up. So I'm like, oh, I'm hardest man ever. They pull my daughter out, with cesarean, of course, because she's 3 months early, and she looks at me and she smiles, and she looks at her mom and she rolls her eyes, and for that moment I was just pure happiness and joy. And right after that, they snatch her away and run her off because she's premature. Her skin is super thin. She's see-through. I can see her heart beating in her organs, and you're just crushed in that moment. So during all this time and all this confusion, they rush her off. They rush my daughter's mom off because she had a cesarean. So they both go off to their separate ICUs, right? And I'm sitting there and having to figure out what I'm going to do next. So, so as I'm sitting there, they send me home, and they're like, "Well, Dad, you gotta go home. You can't do anything for the baby. You can't do anything for her. Come tomorrow during visiting hours," which is really strange. All right, let me clear something up, doctors and nurses. If my baby isn't going to the ICU because they're really sick because they came out and they're see-through, I feel like I should have the opportunity to stick around and, I don't know, hang out, look at her through the window, go to the Inky station. But anyways, that didn't happen. I went home. And, you can't sleep when those things happen. And I didn't. Matter of fact, it was really hard to sleep because I remember that night vividly. When I got home, there was a guy that was killed right down the street from me, from the house. Well, pretty much right outside the apartments we were living in Hawthorne. So, no, I wasn't sleeping anyway. I was outside with the neighbor, and she was telling me what was going on and what happened. And it kind of took my mind off of reason. So the next morning, I wake up, I go to the hospital, and this little girl's inside of the Inky, and she's off the breathing tube already, just fighting through. And from that moment forward, I felt like I had to dedicate my life to her because she dedicated all the energy she had to live and strive. And you can't leave anything behind like that because that means that you're a winner from the beginning of life. So I took that challenge and I ran with it. I became the dad that I am today strictly off the strength of her strength. And that's important to just visualize as we continue throughout the weeks. So I think around December, about three months later, around December 22nd, 23rd, they send her home, and I'm just ecstatic. People ask me what I want for Christmas. I'm like, yo, don't give me nothing. Like, I'm good at this point. My daughter's home. I'm happy. The month before that, we had the whole baby shower. Her mom wasn't even pregnant, but the baby was in the hospital, and we're struggling on how to figure out how to be parents from outside of clear walls because we can't touch her and we can't, have the normal physical encounter that you have with your child when they're first born. So, fast forward 8 years, and my son's born, and he's just pure joy. He comes out a month early, not too big of a deal, compared to what happened before with the first child. So he's full of joy and ready for life. And he's loud. He's really loud, but he's strong. So you can tell in the amount of noise that he makes through his lungs and the pure joy that I get from hearing his voice, his laughs, his giggles, and just the way he interacts with dad. Because I made it a point during that whole pregnancy to talk into the stomach and play the music that he liked, and he moved around. Same thing with my daughter. Both of them, they heard my voice every single day. 'Cause I wanted to make it a sure thing that they knew exactly who their father was and that they would be loved when they reached this planet. Well, it came out the water, made a splash to my life. That's a thing for people that don't know. There's a lot of fluid involved in pregnancy. It's really nasty. Ugh. Anyways, um, so that's the background. So I'm a father of two. I'm 33. I have a 10-year-old that's about to be 11 in 21 days, and oh, I'm sorry, 24 days. And I have a 3-year-old that'll be 4 next in April. And that's my life, and that's where I'm coming from. That's the story behind their conception and how they were born into this world. And I think that gives people an idea. So, as I just introduced today, everything's a little bit surface, strictly because there's so much content that we're rolling out with all the other podcasts that'll be coming after this one. So, I just want everyone to know that if you're watching this, it's a guideline and a tool for hopefully for people to get past and through things daily, because it's gonna be one for me. It's gonna be a ride. I'm gonna I'm gonna release a lot of feeling, and I'm going to be as clear and clean cut and raw as I can possibly be without getting slapped by my mom, because she's a big part of my life as well. So, with that said, it's 11 p.m. at night because you don't have time to yourself when you have children. So you have to do all your hobbies really late. So remember, people, parenting is a full-time job, and everything that I say is going to be coming from a place of happiness and love, even when I'm upset. So I'm about to get out of here. Hope you guys are here next week for the absent father segment that we have. And I got to get out of here and raise these kids. Until next week.